Hello. Today is December 27th, the third day in the octave of Christmas, and the feast of St. John the Evangelist. St. John, in his gospel, doesn't tell us how Jesus was born, but rather he tells us about the origins of Jesus. He isn't like Matthew and Mark, who tell us about the birth in Bethlehem. He says, no. This is the Word made flesh. This is the very Word of God, who was with God, who always was God, who now becomes flesh and dwells among us. That is an important statement. It is one of those things that gives us pause to reflect today. But while John doesn't tell us anything about the birth of Jesus, he does tell us some very important things, not just in his gospel, but in his letters. In fact, in my opinion, the most important thing that John tells us is found in his first letter, where John says God is love, that the very essence of God is love itself, and that this Word of God become flesh, this Jesus whose birth we celebrate this week, that's the birth of love into our world. He is the very embodiment of love. And that everything Jesus has done, everything that Jesus has said, is ultimately to reveal the depth of God's great love for you and for me. It's almost too much to believe, to begin to even comprehend. But that is the most important thing, that God is crazy in love with you and me, and that we are here because God's love makes us. God's love brings us to life, and God's love will save us. There is an old medieval tradition associated with the feast of St. John the Evangelist, and like so many, it goes back probably well over 1,000 years. But today, there are still people who will observe that tradition. They'll drink a glass of hot spiced wine. Maybe with kids, it could be some spiced cider, cider with a little cinnamon in, a little orange juice, just a little bit of extra flavoring, or maybe apple juice that's spiced up as well and warmed up. And when it comes time to drink this glass, they hold it up and they say, let us sing to the love of St. John. Let us sing to the love of St. John, that love that John taught us. Let us drink to that. And the response given by the rest is, where there is love, there is God. Where there is love, there is God. I hope this Christmas season you find some of that love in your life, because in the midst of that love, you will find God. Drink to the love of St. John. Where there is love, there is God. Have a wonderful Christmas season.